Hello everyone, it's Jeannie checking back in. Just want to say hey, and I've just got done doing a couple of, I actually just did a whole family of astrology for a whole family, and there's a lot that we don't realize that our astrology means. So we have our sun, moon, and rising sign, which is basically the face that you put forward to the world, your sun sign, which is your natal sign, the sign that you were born in, and your moon sign, which is your emotion. The Holy Trinity, when you think of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, how they're one, it's the same exact thing with your sun, moon, and AC line. It is the Holy Trinity of the astrology signs, of your astrology chart. Now, we are a little bit of all of the planets are in us, depending on what's square, depending on what's trine, depending on what shape you have in the middle of your natal chart. All these things mean something. So, Vedic astrology really focuses on your rising sign. The rising sign is the AC line. When you look at an astrology chart, like I still have Israel's chart up from when we did Israel. So the AC line, this is the day of the attack, which shows us victims, is that the victims were surprised the day of the attack. So this isn't their natal chart. But their natal chart was in Libra, if you remember. And with their natal chart being in Libra, it shows us that their AC line is the face that the rising sign was in Libra for Israel, okay? Which is the face that they present to the world was in Libra. The face that the world sees was in Libra. And if you remember, this is the day of the attack we did at, October the 7th, 2023. Let it focus. Give it a second to focus. I don't know why it's not focusing. Anyway, I have it at 3 o'clock on October the 7th, 2023. Who does it say that we attack? It says that the god of war, Mars, attacks Libra. The face of Israel is attacked, and that it's a surprise because we have Aquarius here. So just like countries have their own natal chart, us people, we have our own natal chart too. Excuse me. So you think about it. The Holy Trinity, who you are, yourself, your sun sign, and your moon sign. Your AC line, your rising sign, your sun sign, and the moon sign. Now, Vedic astrology focuses on your AC line a lot, your rising sign. Matter of fact, it's the most important part of astrology in Vedic astrology, which is based upon Hinduism and medical astrology, Vedic medical astrology, color astrology, gem astrology, crystal astrology. A lot of... Actually, I had the weirdest experience the other day. I met someone that claims to be a witch but doesn't believe in astrology, and that really freaked me out. It's like herbs are connected to every planet. The herbs get their names because of planets. We use herbs and spells. There's a reason that black pepper is used in spells to make them last. Why is black pepper so healthy? Why is black pepper so common? Why is black pepper black? Why do hoodoo priest and voodoo priest and witches use black pepper in magic? Because it's connected to Saturn. You know, you might have a spell that's been passed down to you for generations from your grandmother or from your mother that was a witch. I have recipes like that too. But the root of that recipe is because of the planets. So it really freaked me out that there was somebody out there in this world that claims to be a hoodoo expert, but poo-poos astrology. Sorry, I had to take a sip of soda. So every herb that you're using is connected to a planet. And the reason why that herb is magical because it is connected to a certain planet. You know, the planets came here first. Hindu is the oldest religion in the world. You know, if you check into a hospital, there's a reason why hospitals have a certain protocol. Because ancient Alexandria and Egypt, they followed medical astrology. So if you were in Etruscan, Rome, Italy, back in the ancient times, in Etruscan times, or in Roman and Greek times, in Egyptian times, in Macedonia, ancient times, when you went to a doctor, a shaman back then, or, actually Alexandria did have a functioning hospital in Egypt. And there's still remnants of the college that was there, the medical university that was there. There's still ancient parts of it. And all of their medical knowledge was based upon the planets. So even today, when we check into a hospital, they want to please your Saturn. They want to please your Mars. Now, why do they want to please Saturn? You know, back in ancient Alexandria times, you would go to the school hospital, to the college that was in ancient Egypt, and you check in, and the first thing they'd say is, "What's your birthday? We need your natal chart." They were astrologers. They weren't just physicians. They were doctors of astrology. And they tried to keep your Saturn happy. It's why today they give you a blanket as soon as you walk into the hospital, and they push fluids. Why do they push fluids? They push fluids because Saturn is cold and dry. Saturn is connected to your DNA. He's connected to your skeleton and your physical body. So if your physical body is hurting or if there's pain, the doctors would try to please your Saturn. They push fluids because Saturn is cold and dry. It lacks water. Okay, so they're going to push fluids and keep you warm. It's why when we check into a hospital, they give us a heated blanket. It's because of Saturn. So I really left scratching my head after having this run-in with this voodoo guy, whatever. How do you even claim to know anything about your herbs and candles and your spells if you don't know where you come from? We all come from astrology. Every one of these planets is inside of us. Venus is in us. Mars is in us. Saturn is inside of us. Earth is inside of us. All the atoms that make up Mars are in us. All the atoms that make up Venus are in us. We are part of these planets, and the planets are in us, and we are in them. Every spell that I do, it's based upon the planets. Some of the ancient Latin words come from the planets. Medication that we take comes from the planets. Anyway, I just wanted to explain to you about, the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, and how it's one. Think of the sun, moon, and your rising as the same thing. The big three, right? The big three. You, as the rising sign, the face that you show the world. The sun is basically like your car, okay? Your sun sign is like the car that you drive. The AC line is who's driving the car. The moon is the emotions in the back seat, all right? So think of it like this. Something happens in our lives where we have an emergency. And you might think back to yourself, wow, I don't know how I got through that. I was stressed out. Usually I would have reacted differently. I would have, freaked out and just balled up in a ball and sat in the corner and cried. But something in your brain clicks and something takes over. Do you know what that is called? In Vedic astrology, they call it, I think it's called Nansatra or something like that. I can't remember the Indian word for it, but there's an Indian word for it. And basically what it means is that another planet takes over. Because you have these 3 signs always playing with you at all times, if your sun sign, let's say you're a Sagittarius, so your sun sign is going to be Jupiter. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, okay? So think about what kind of car would Zeus pick out, okay? If you're a Sagittarius, you're going to be driving a car that Zeus picks out. Jupiter picks out your car. Now, Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion. It's the planet of truth and justice. So we might have a big Hummer, right? We're not going to have a little go-kart or like a little Toyota Corolla, are we? No. This is Jupiter we're talking about. Jupiter is no joke, and he's huge. You're going to have a big car. You're probably going to have either a big monster truck, or you're going to have like a big, I don't know, Hummer with big wheels, and it's going to be all pimped out, because Jupiter is about making it bigger, okay? That's the car that you're going to be driving. Your rising sign is going to be steering the steering wheel behind that big ass truck, okay? Behind that big Hummer with the big wheels, it's all pimped out. And the moon sign is going to be sitting in the back seat. Now, let's say you have an emergency. Let's say you see an accident on the side of the road and somebody's trapped. Now, maybe your normal sign is more timid. Let's say that your sun sign is not a Sagittarius. Let's say you're a little bit more timid and a little bit more shy. And somehow something else takes over. You jump out of the car and you end up lifting the car and rescuing the 2 kids in the back seat, saving the parents in the front, put out the fire. You're the hero. And everyone says, oh my God, how did you do that? What happened? How did you do that? Because you're usually not that type of a person, right? You usually would have gone into the corner and cried and would have been scared. Okay? That's because your planets can body snatch you sometimes. And another planet jumps in the front seat and takes over the wheel and starts to operate the big Jupiter car, the big Hummer car, the big tank, or whatever you're driving, right? So think of it like this. Let's say you've had a traumatic childhood and you think back about your childhood and you wonder, how the hell did I get through that? How in the hell did I manage to get myself through those days? And sometimes you think back and it's almost like you were carried. Yes, God carries you because God made these planets, okay? God made these planets to carry you. And the way that your natal chart is set up is that another planet takes over and gets behind the wheel of the steering wheel of whatever planet that your sun sign is and takes over the car. Puts you in the back seat. You're there, you're present, you're able to see the whole thing going on out the windshield. You're totally aware, but something else takes over. And that's how these planets save you. That's how these planets are meant to behave. So I'm sure all of you have personal stories of, something happened that was traumatic, but something clicked in my brain, and I reacted in a way that I normally wouldn't react, because your normal sun sign might not be a sign that's aggressive or might not be a sign that pulls you through it. But what happens is, another planet jumps in the front seat and takes over the steering wheel. That's basically what happens, and starts to operate the vehicle. So we have Jupiter. Let's try to think of what these planets' cars that they may have, okay? Jupiter, like I said, is probably going to be, it's Zeus. So what kind of car would Zeus pick out in the parking lot? Zeus would probably pick out a Hummer, and then he'd pimp it out. It'd be like a big monster truck with big wheels, okay? That's Jupiter's vehicle. What kind of vehicle would the moon have? If you're a Cancer sign, right? Maybe you won't even have a vehicle. Maybe you'd have a sailboat, because It's connected to the ocean. It's connected to the moon. So maybe your vehicle is a beautiful sailboat, okay? Or let's say you're a Leo. You're connected to the sun. What kind of car would Leo have? Oh my gosh, Leo would have like a Corvette. Leo would have a pimped out, high classy BMW, pimped out, you know, over the top, expensive vehicle. Because Leo is about looking your best, having the best of the best and looking your best, okay? What kind of car would Pisces drive? Right? What kind of car would a Libra drive? What kind of car would a Taurus drive? Actually, Taurus make pretty decent sound decisions when it comes to making big purchases. I could see a Taurus buying a vehicle like a I don't know, like a Volkswagen, like a brand new beautiful Volkswagen that's meant to last, or like an Audi or something like that, or maybe like a I don't know. Think of what kind of car your planet would pick out for you to drive. You know, Taurus makes good sound decisions. They make good investments. So I can see a Taurus driving like a, I don't know, like a yeah, like a Volkswagen, like a brand new SUV Volkswagen, a car that's meant to last, you know. So or like a Jetta or something like that. I'm not really sure. But think about what kind of car your planet would pick out for you. And your AC line is operating your sun sign. You're going through the day, and then let's say all of a sudden there's a crisis. Another planet jumps into the front seat of that car that belongs to Jupiter, and then it starts to drive behind the wheel. Puts you in the back seat. You're able to visualize the whole thing through the windshield, and somehow you get through it. This happens all the time. And it's why God gave us the Holy Trinity of 3 planets that rule you. So, it's an interesting thing to think of like that. Is like, yeah, sometimes you kind of get body snatched. And at certain times, some planets, you know, become more dominant. And they do put you in the... It doesn't have to be a crisis. It can be that you're just functioning on autopilot with another planet driving the wheel. And you think back like, wow, that went by quick. I don't know how that happened. It's usually because another planet jumps into the front seat and takes over your main sun sign's vehicle. So that's just a little way I like to explain to people about the big 3. About your rising sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign. Your sun sign is who you are born, the sign that you're born in. This rising sign is the face that you show the world. So let's say you're driving your Jupiter Hummer or your you know, monster truck, and you get pulled over. You're driving your sun sign's vehicle, but when you get pulled over and roll down the window and you talk to a police officer, the AC line, the rising sign, is who talks to the police officer. This is who greets the door. Your rising sign, okay? You know, when you're behind the wheel and you're alone with your car, you're going to drive a certain way. But when you go and greet the world, you're not the same person that's driving the vehicle, if that makes any sense. The moon sign is sitting in the back seat, and it might be like the backseat driver. Ooh, slow down. Be careful, right? That's your moon sign. Your emotions. What triggers you is your moon sign. So you have your sun, which is your natal sign, the sign that you're born in. Your moon is your emotions, and your rising, which is your AC line, is who greets the world. If somebody came and knocked on your door and you're a Sagittarius, Sagittarius doesn't answer the door. The rising sign answers the door. If that makes sense. This is the face that you greet the world with. And all 3 of these signs make up who you are. Anyway, I hope that helps. I just tried to explain it to somebody, and they really got confused. People are like, wait, what am I driving? Am I Jupiter? Am I Zeus? So it is confusing. But basically, you're going to think as your sun sign picks out the vehicle. That's how you get through life in that vehicle. But at certain times during your life, especially if there's a crisis, another planet might come in and take over the wheel. and drive and control the vehicle for a little while. That's what happens. And sometimes if it's just going through a phase where that planet is more dominant, then that planet can take over. But it doesn't matter because all three make up who you are. It's the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit Trinity. Same thing with this. The sun, the moon, and your rising sign makes up one person. It makes one person who you are as a whole. Hope that makes sense. I love you guys. I'll be in touch soon. I'm getting over pink eye, so I'm finally able to start viewing these charts. So I'll be on a live soon. It's been a little bit stressful here. My husband has been a bit agitated. You guys know that he's got brain damage, and we've just been struggling a little bit. So it's hard to do a live when he's here, and he's been here a lot. So it's nothing major. It's just they adjusted his medication, and sometimes it's just really hard because he just says like really his brain damage affected his frontal lobe, so most of his brain damage like sits in the front. So he says like really off the wall stuff, and sometimes like I catch myself recording and then I just like shut it off because I'm like, what did he just say? What? And I don't want it to come in the background and then people hear it, and then it's just too much explaining to do. So that's why I haven't been on. He's been home. So I'm upstairs and he's downstairs. So I will be on soon. My pink eye is clear. I'm going to clean up my altar downstairs because I need to like clean wherever I touch because of my pink eye. But I'll be in touch soon. I love you guys very much. Blessings to you all. Take care of each other. Be nice to each other. Be kind to each other. Love you all. Bye-bye.